When narcissists seek revenge, the warning signs you can't ignore. A baby narcissist starts out cute, but if they're spoiled and idolized too much by parents or others, they grow into an adult who thinks they're a god. They spend decades trying to manipulate others into fitting their fantasy world, but as they age, they become more disconnected from reality. Eventually, they fade away, like a character in a painting. That's the life of a narcissist in a nutshell. Now, when it comes to dealing with frustration, the narcissist is a whole different story. Anything that bugs them feels like a personal attack, and if they're frustrated in public, it's like a public humiliation for them. Their idea of frustration is wild too. It's not just disagreement. It's saying no, setting boundaries, or not doing exactly what they want. If you're independent or have your own opinions, it's like you're purposely hurting them. They see it as a personal attack, like you're trying to torture them. Weird, right? When a narcissist feels frustrated, it hits their ego hard and makes them uneasy. This fear of frustration builds up stress and anxiety, leading them to lose their usual defenses and emotional stability, almost transforming into a different version of themselves, often resembling borderline behavior. In simpler terms, when stressed or anxious, narcissists may act out like someone with borderline personality, exhibiting tantrums, heightened emotions, and struggling with negative feelings like anger and envy. The frustration can push the narcissist even further. In extreme cases, they might turn into a primary psychopath. This is different from how a person with borderline personality might turn into a secondary psychopath. Both narcissists and borderlines find it hard to handle frustration, and this can lead them to desperate attempts to get rid of whatever is causing them frustration. In healthy individuals, frustration often leads to assertive actions aimed at modifying a situation. However, for narcissists, frustration can trigger external aggression, sometimes resulting in verbal or physical violence, known as coercive snapshot. They seek to impose their expectations onto others, wanting them to conform to their ideal image, essentially erasing their independent existence. When confronted or resisted, narcissists may escalate to extreme measures, including violence. It's important to understand that narcissists often internalize frustration, struggling to recognize external triggers. Narcissists have a hard time understanding that people and things exist separately from them. To them, you don't really exist outside of their thoughts. They only interact with an idea of you in their mind. When a narcissist gets upset, they don't see it as coming from outside. They think it's all inside, like an internal issue. So, if you upset a narcissist, their aggressive reaction is an attempt to ease their own discomfort. They want to change you so you fit the image they have in their mind. Dealing with a narcissist isn't as simple as walking away. They don't engage with you as a person, but rather as an idea in their mind, which can lead to frustration and even outbursts of rage. They carry this image of you with them, and unless they mentally let go of it, resort to violence, or control your behavior, the frustration persists. Moreover, under extreme stress, narcissists can switch to a borderline state, characterized by impulsivity and destructive behavior, leading to the infamous angry outbursts known as borderline rage. In the morning, when a narcissist is in a cold and calculating state, it's similar to the classic psychopath. It's premeditated, ruthless, and lacks empathy. Both the borderline and psychopathic states involve a lot of fantasy, because narcissism is a defense mechanism gone wrong. Reality testing is impaired, making everything a bit fantastical, even these different self-states. The psychopathic state in a narcissist is genuinely frightening, similar to extreme cases like Chris Watts. It's a scary state that follows a more hidden phase, a link between the borderline and psychopathic states. Sometimes, a person with certain behaviors might seem perfectly normal at first, but suddenly they change. They don't get angry or upset. Instead, they try to find common ground, make compromises, and show kindness. They might even act loving and be the ideal partner. However, underneath this normal exterior, there are signs of being a bit heavy, moody, and a bit mean. They might use sarcasm and bitterness. They seem determined but avoid facing any problems. They act overly polite, pretend to be civil, and show care, among other things. Despite this seemingly normal behavior, These individuals might be hiding harmful intentions. They may be secretly planning to harm you, either physically or by ruining your career. This harm could be so severe that it traumatizes you in a way that's hard to recover from. They carry out these harmful plans in a hidden or open way, making it easy to misunderstand their true intentions. The victim might think they have the upper hand, but the damage inflicted by these revenge plans eats away at them like a parasite. Let's dive into the borderline state, which comes in two forms. The first is sudden and explosive, often seen in narcissists who unleash intense anger or tantrums with no warning. The second version is more gradual, where the narcissist subtly provokes a fight, aiming to shift blame onto you. This sneakier strategy is typical of covert narcissists. In both cases, when a narcissist is stressed or facing challenges, they may transition into this state, catching you off guard with either a sudden storm or a gradual buildup of tension. Watch out for those who, despite feeling hurt, can hide their true intentions behind a facade of normalcy, waiting for the right moment to strike back. Some individuals, as a defense mechanism, tend to blame others for their actions and may resort to aggression or violence to justify their behavior, seeing it as necessary for their survival. Winning becomes paramount to them, and failure can result in intense feelings of sadness, substance abuse, and disconnection from reality. They often employ psychological manipulation, particularly towards those close to them, becoming more aggressive when they perceive closeness as a threat. Some escalate from verbal cruelty to physical harm, treating others as objects rather than people. Those who are deeply paranoid or seek revenge can pose significant dangers, resorting to stalking and harassment. While seeking revenge is a primal human instinct, the approach varies, with individuals with inflated egos often mishandling it. One way to approach revenge in a healthy manner is by focusing on fairness and restoring a sense of safety for the victim rather than just punishing the wrongdoer. It aims to ensure the wrongdoer faces consequences, the victim finds relief, and society acknowledges what happened. However, revenge can become unhealthy when it turns into an obsession, consuming someone's thoughts and leading to self-destructive behavior. Without intervention, this obsession can harm relationships and mental well-being, potentially leading to serious consequences in the long run. Narcissistic revenge is a way for narcissists to boost their ego and feel better about themselves when they've been hurt or embarrassed. They often blame themselves and try to prove their power to silence negative thoughts. If you're dealing with narcissistic behavior, check out my videos for tips on how to handle it. The narcissist says, "You're wrong. I'm like a god. I'll show you by punishing those who hurt me." This all starts with a humiliating experience. Being a victim clashes with the narcissist's idea of being all-powerful, brilliant, perfect, and invincible. By making the person they see as a perpetrator suffer, the narcissist feels important again, restoring their exaggerated sense of self. In short, when the narcissist punishes someone they see as a wrongdoer, someone who won't do what they want, won't be submissive, or has embarrassed them, they get back their distorted view of being all-powerful, becoming godlike once more. If you catch yourself dwelling on revenge, pause and ask if it's coming from hurt pride or unhealthy narcissism. Focus on addressing your rightful feelings of upset rather than letting narcissistic tendencies take over. Reflect on whether your desire for revenge is fair and justified, or if it's driven by selfish motives. Often, it's the latter. Remember, seeking revenge to restore balance and protect yourself is valid, but ensure it's not about feeding your own ego. Ultimately, aim to assert your rights and restore harmony, rather than seeking cruel satisfaction. I just want things to go back to how they were before. I want everything to be restored to the way it used to be. It's a way of dealing with the pain caused by someone else's intentional bad actions. Things like compensation or making up for the harm are ways of getting back in a practical and fair manner. It's a kind of fair payback that is good for everyone. There are two ways people usually react to harm. One is to punish and be self-righteous, and the other is to seek fair and practical solutions to make things right. Healthy people usually go for the second option, while those who are self-centered and think highly of themselves tend to go for the first. So that's the difference between these two kinds of people. I hope I haven't come across as too aggressive, and if I have, you can respond in any way you prefer, whether it's by punishing, being self-righteous, or finding a fair and practical solution. It's up to you.